parameters. Yes, sir.
So for the auction,
Did I pay you?
Oh, no.
so for the auction, are we gonna go through like each question on the quizzes that we have, or is that we're just gonna say?
No, we're just we're gonna just set aside not that much time. It's not gonna. You're not going to solve all your problems with the auction. It's just we're going to have a little fun with it, and some very lucky people are going to. Don't count on the auction to fix things. Count on your paper and your final to fix things. That's the chances you got.
For the paper that we're writing, is there a certain page number, or is it a word count?
There is an exact word count, and it has to meet it to the word. Exactly the number of words that you need to get the job done. And that's the whole parameter.
I apologize.
Yes, pose the questions until I go on the site and say, I've already made the final. Good question. And I wouldn't have thought of that. Yes. It'll seem so similar, and the midterm, everything that was on the midterm will be on the final. Everything.
How many questions will you choose from that one if we were to write them down?
How many questions were on the midterm? 30? 30? There will not be more than 50 questions on the midterm. Even though you'll have twice as long to write it, and even though you already have 30 of them in your hand, and you'll have all the others in your hand too, because you're going to know from whether I buy things. You started to say something and then lost your courage.
I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah.
Right, man. Then, please put everything away.
Quiz point and maybe a final exam point. It just depends on how much. Oh yeah, you should also buy a point back from the
Yeah, some stuff like that.
You stopped most of the day.
You didn't sign it.
Yeah.
All right. Please completely clear your desk. So there's absolutely not even a writing instrument on it. Put away no pencil. Put away your phone. I'll start by putting my phaser on. I won't even put it on start. I'm going to put it on airplane mode. Put your phasers on airplane mode. Okay. Make sure you turn them off or put them on airplane mode so they don't even go. Just there won't be a lot of content. You can if you want, but it'll do it in airplane mode if you have an iPhone. I mean, I know the iPhone will let you know that you can record, but not on top of the desk. Put everything completely away. Everything completely away. No phones, no notes, no textbooks. Put everything completely away. Let us bow together as we have a number of times. close your eyes. Sweet hour of prayer, sweet hour of prayer, that calls me from a world of care, and bids me at my Father's throne, make all my wants and wishes known. In seasons of distress and grief, my soul has often found relief, and oft escaped the tempter's snare by thy return, sweet hour of prayer. In our sanctified imaginations, we ask you, Father, to visit us with your Spirit, to use our minds and our hearts as we imagine ourselves in the new earth after sin and hurt and worry are just a memory that is becoming dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. We ask that you will bring to our minds the image of where we will actually dwell, where each of us will actually live when we come home at night. Bring to our minds an actual picture as we walk toward our home, our perfect home. As we see where it is situated, whether in the holy city or somewhere in the perfected wilderness. Show us what is around. Show us the color. Let us, just for an instant, experience the smells. And as we approach our home, take us on a walk all the way around our house. So that we notice How many floors? So that we notice as we walk around windows and landscaping and doors, even what kind of roof. So we walk around to one side and we walk the length of that side, getting to know it for the first time. And around the corner and walk around the back of our home. We continue to the other side and turn another corner, heading back toward the front. And notice what the home is made from. Notice that it's in perfect repair. And all around, the plants are exactly as we would dream. Even flowers and blossoms that we've never seen before. With colors that are used to be eyes were not able to see before. Returning to the front of the house, we approach the front door, which is of course not lockable. No locks. And so we enter. And we close the door behind us. And we look around. We notice different doors and hallways. And we notice that there's very comfortable seating. We find a very comfortable, favorite place. And we sit very relaxed in our favorite place. And we reflect on what our day, our perfect day, has been. Where we went, who we went there with, what we did when we got there. And we smile at ourselves, remembering that there used to be a time where we would worry, or we would wonder if we did the right thing, or there'd be something pressing to make us feel anxious about what we have to do. We smile because it's becoming harder and harder to remember what that felt like. From that comfortable place, in your favorite seat, in your perfect house in heaven. You look around this living area, this front room, and you see how you've decorated it. You look at what's on the walls. You notice the colors. You notice the height of the ceiling. And looking down, the type of flooring. There's a knock at the door. So you stand up and you walk back to the front door and you open it, and it's Jesus. He's come to visit with you. Just you. There's nobody else home at the moment. He says something, and you look at his face as he says it, and you invite him in. You go back to where there are seats, and you offer a seat to Jesus, and he sits down and makes himself comfortable. And then you sit back down. And then you think, I should offer him something in case he is hungry or thirsty. And so you ask, can I get you anything? And he says, sure, what do you have? And so you tell him what you have. And he says, thank you. That sounds good. I'll have, and he chooses one of the things that you've mentioned. And so you go to the kitchen and you start getting that together. And you say, I'll be as quick as I can. It'll just be a moment. And Jesus says, I am in no hurry. I have forever to be with you. So what are you making? What are you going to serve to Jesus? You prepare it, and you look at your dishes and your utensils, and you choose something very nice. And you carry Jesus' refreshments back to the living room. You give him what you have prepared, and you sit down, and you say, I'm so glad that you came by. I wanted to tell you something, and I had something to ask you. And he, with his mouth a little bit full and busy, he says, well, go ahead. And so you first tell Jesus what you were wanting to tell him. So see yourself and hear yourself telling Jesus that which you were wanting to tell him. And see his face as he listens. And Jesus smiles, uses the napkin that you provided, and then he responds. Listen to his response to what you have told me. And Jesus, with a smile, says, and what was the question that you wanted to ask? You said you had a question. What was it? And Jesus, he repeats your question, wording it just a little differently, and says, let me make sure that I understand your question. Is this what you asked? And you hear him rephrase your question, and even the way he rephrases it suggests to you insight that you'd never before imagined. And you say, yes, that's not only is that what I meant, I couldn't have said it that well. That's what I was hoping you would answer. And he says, okay. He thinks peacefully for a bit. He ponders your question, and then he smiles again, and he answers. What does Jesus answer? Jesus' answer does satisfy your question. And then Jesus says, oh, this weekend, you know what we're going to do this weekend? I wanted to make sure you were planning to be there and do this. I especially want to make sure that you are there. And then Jesus tells you what's going to happen this weekend. And you never would have even imagined that that kind of thing would go on in the new earth. You kind of try to restrain yourself from laughing because it seems kind of funny that would happen. You never in your before life did you picture that would take place after the second coming and on into eternity. And you kind of laugh, and Jesus kind of laughs and describes what's going to happen this weekend. What is it that he tells you? Hear Jesus telling you what is going to happen this weekend. And then Jesus says, is there anything that you're wanting or that you're hoping for that still is a desire in your heart? Is there anything else that you would like that you don't have right now? And you say, there actually is. I wasn't going to say anything, but he says, let's go ahead and say. And so you tell him about that secret, fondest desire of your heart, as if he didn't already know. And Jesus says, absolutely, consider it done. And then you tell Jesus, I actually agreed to go to meet with someone for dinner. We'll be out this evening, and it's approaching time for me to go meet them. And Jesus hears you describe where you're going for dinner and who you're going with, and he says, "Oh, that's wonderful." And he says, "Well, you know, I need to stop by and see so and so. So that's perfect." And you and Jesus stand up, walk to the door, and he opens it and steps out onto the porch and takes your hand, and then he holds your hand with both of his hands, and he says, looking right into your eyes, he says, one more thing. And then he tells you the one more thing, whatever it is that he had on his heart before he leaves. flesh shall rise to seize the everlasting prize, and shout while passing through the air, farewell, farewell, sweet hour of prayer. I wish you this weekend and next week peace and calm, even joy during this important and busy time. And I hope that in spite of being finals week on the horizon, I'm going to turn the light on, so protect your eyes. Protect your eyes so you get gradual reorienting. I know this sounds like a dangerous gamble to some of you, but I dare you to completely sabotage this Sabbath with all that's going on. I dare you to still have absolute Sabbath from tonight until tomorrow night. I dare you to do it anyway. God bless you. Have a nice weekend. See you in